Rise up, rise up. It is the 6th day of the Rise Up Challenge, and I am talking about the fear of failure. Fear of failure. Day 6, coming on live, giving you some encouragement, speaking what's on my heart and mind, hoping to shed some positive light in this world with all of the deceptive things that go on time and time again. So yeah, here I am, just giving you a little piece of me. Last night was a silly live, and I don't know why, but I felt in a silly mood, and I think that's translating into now. I think I'm coming off of a high from getting my first vaccination. I'll say I'm coming off of a high when it's absolutely the opposite, right? Because I was sick for 3 days, or 2 days for sure, from getting my first shot of vaccination. But here I am, staying true to my team, staying true to my crew, and sticking with this Rise Up Challenge. At the beginning of the challenge, I chose to pick a topic, and I didn't even know I was going to pick a topic. But my topic is failure, the fear of failure. And the failure comes in all different shapes and sizes. Fear of failure, or fear in itself, is so tricky, right? Like, it can come in ways that we just think we're being cautious, right? No. At the end of the day, you're scared, because if you look at things realistically, sometimes you'll look at, well, would my 10-year-old self have had a problem with doing this? No. Would my 18-year-old self, I'm aging myself with this, my 21-year-old self, my 35-year-old self, like, when you look back over your life, you realize that there were times when you were perhaps fearless. But now that you're a little bit more experienced and you know the world, there's all sorts of things that keep you from living and thriving and just being your best. And we got to stop that, right? We got to put an end to fear, especially if you're like me and you're single and you're not married, you don't have any kids. Like, essentially, right? I have no excuse, I'm not going to let the moms off the hook, because no, you have no excuse either. There are tons of moms out there that have, raised kids, gone back to school and gotten a degree, and now are pursuing their dreams. So essentially nobody is off the hook, because people have come from down in the dumps places. If you live in the United States, there are opportunities everywhere. Now, I recognize that the same opportunities are not presented to everyone. And that changes based off, your demographics, your skin color, everything, everything under the sun, dictates that. But that still does not give us the right to sell ourselves short and to succumb to the fears of life. So, when I first talked on when I first brought this to your attention and decided to go live and talk about fear, I wrote down 3 things. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you homework. And you can, if you're live with me right now, there's a few people that are in here. You can answer the homework. I would rather you answer your homework in the comments, or you can catch the live or the replay. I will be posting this on Facebook as well as my new YouTube channel. So, comment, I will reply. It's just me. I'm not like this team of people. Like, this is essentially me coming out of my shell, in a different way. I'm a fitness competitor, and I've performed on stages all over the world. So obviously I know how to come out of my shell, but this is in a different way. It's stretching me to really dig deep and show you the heart of who I am, and where I'm going as a coach. So, 2 Timothy 1:17 talks about God not giving us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. But I wrote down 3 things that I wanted to really stress and talk about the first day, and I just got random. I started talking about everything else. So I have them written down, and I'm going to spit them out to you. And I want you to respond with your homework, with your answers. Some of these things you may not have fully thought about. Okay, so first, where did fear start for you? Where did it start? Did it start when you were a kid and your parents was always saying no, 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 no? Did you have like an overbearing parent that was always like, don't do that, you could get hurt, don't do that, this could happen to you, don't do that, don't touch this, don't go there, no, you can't go hang out with those friends, those kind of people, like their parents worry, and so they extend that to you sometimes. So did it start then, or did it start in high school where it could have been something traumatic that happened to you, that you were in a safe space with your family and friends and people, but some creep or asshole got into your life and did something unthinkable to you. That's when fear could have creeped in your life. Or it could have been something a little more simpler, like you were a kick-ass skateboarder and you decided to like try some crazy trick because your friend did it, and then you broke your leg, and now you have a fear of jumping into any kind of activity like that. Maybe your fear stemmed from more like mine. I mentioned this last night. I realized some of my fear comes from the fact that I've already been so successful in certain areas of my life. And it's like, well, if I pursue something completely different, like, that's a different look for me. Who is that person? Who does she think she is moving into the professional world, or moving into this industry when she's always been in this industry, or even in my current industry, as I've gotten older and had injuries. Yeah, that's a fear point for me. But the fear of not being able to get back on top in the fitness world if I decide to hop back on the stage and compete again. Like those are fears that you may have, and they tend to stem from something or somewhere. What I'm challenging you to do is, number one, in your homework, is write down and comment, where that started from. Where did that fear start from? Because we don't know where we're going if we don't ever evaluate where we've been, right? Like, I'm in the fitness world, and it's like I can look back and think about what I did to get where I got. Now, mind you, as an older adult, I may have to tweak some things, but through trial and error, there are things that I know works and how they work for me. And there are diet programs and stuff that I've tried that, they don't work for me so well. My clients the same way. Like, everybody can't do keto. Everybody can't do low carb. It's those sorts of things. So number one, homework, where did that fear start for you? Where did it start? Younger, older, or you may have multiple things in your life that have contributed to your fear factor today. Fear factor. That was a whole TV show, right? Then after you look at how it started, or where did it start, and of course compounding places it could be, and now I want you to evaluate number two. How is it going? How is it going? Are you still letting those things that happened to you when you were 10 years old keep you from going to the skate park? I know that. I mean, that's just an example. But are you fearful of getting in a body of water because when you were a kid, you got bit, right? Or you got stung by a jellyfish. And that's why you don't go in the ocean anymore. Like whatever it is, how is it going now? Like, what are you doing now in your life as it relates to those fearful moments, like where it started for you? So that's number 2. And I got a third one, number 3. I like those threes, like, right? Father, Son, Holy Ghost. All right, number 3 is how can we fix it? We can't go back and like erase what we did when we were 10, 12, 15 years old, even 21. I mean, I went to college, went to University of Alabama, Roll Tide, and I know I say that all the time. But I'm a cheerleader. What do you expect? You're gonna hear about my teams. Yes, Rise Up. I'm a Falcons lover as well. So there. But how can we fix it? What are we gonna go back and do? We can't go back and erase history. But we can learn from it, right? Now that we're in our adult lives, some of you watching this may not be adults. I've coached lots of young gymnasts and cheerleaders, and they find their way to my page too. So you can think of this too. How can you fix it? How can you get over the hump? When I was younger, I had less cares in the world. So when I injured myself or something happened, not necessarily an injury, but something that happened that was a little more unfavorable, my coach, because I was a kid gymnast, I was also a cheerleader and a dancer and all that stuff when I was younger. But you fall and your coach says what? Get back up. You fall as a toddler and you just get back up. Like your parents just get back up. I'm sure if your parent was like, oh, and acting like, oh my God, my baby just fell, blah, 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 then you would be so terrified to try to walk again, right? Parents have to be careful of that. Coaches are the same way. Your coach sees you fall and they say, okay, Nicole, get back up and try it again. I would never forget. I was learning back handsprings. I was at gymnastics camp in the summer. If anybody has ever been an athlete in any sort of sports, back in the day, you would always go to camp, summer camp. And you would also have summer intensives or whatever, where you really, really went in and you practiced longer days, longer hours, whatever. Doing a back handspring, this is a backflip where you go from your feet to your hands to your feet again. Doing a back handspring on a 4-foot high beam. Mind you, I'm 4'11". That's my height. Doing a back handspring on a 4-foot high beam that's only 4 inches wide. Yeah, that's about 4 inches. I know, because I used to put my hands on it like this, and then my fingers would wrap around it. If you ever seen gymnasts do back handsprings, some gymnasts put one hand on top of the other and like that. But they first taught you to put it in this little groove, and then you're gripping the beam with your fingers and your thumbs. So you have to go straight back, right? Those arms have to be perfectly over your head. Everything has to be straight. I was in a foreign gym because we were at camp, and my coach was like so excited for me because I got my back handspring, and he said, okay, Nicole, do it. So I get on the beam and I do it and I do it and I do it and I do it, of course, several times. And then this particular coach, he would always make us do it on both ends. You had to do it 5, sometimes it was 10 times, back to back, repetitively. Ooh, I'm giving y'all some tips right now on how to overcome these fears repetitively. I didn't even know it was going here. Repetitively, 5 times or 10 times in a row. we would at least have a minimum of 3 beams. Sometimes it would 8 beams, 4 foot high, 4 inches wide. Come on now. And we would have to do them facing both directions. I know you think, well, if you can do it one way, you can do it the other. Of course. But when you first learn something, it's like, okay, I know how to do it this way, and this is comfortable. And seeing this, view when I start the process, like seeing that view, that's what feels comfortable to me. But now, doing something I just learned like 5 minutes ago, I got to turn and do it facing the other direction. Have you ever learned to dance facing the mirror and then like turn away from the mirror and try to remember the dance again and what direction you were doing? Let me tell you, when you're new to learning choreography or learning tricks or skills, it's a whole different ballgame. But then you put difficulty to it, right? I wasn't just doing it on a line on the floor, which is where you start, right? Or then you graduate to a little beam that's only 4 inches off the ground. Then I was doing it on a 4 foot. I'm 4'11". That beam is up to here. So, long story short, because I know how to make it long, right? I split the beam. I straddled the beam. I hit it hard. It gave me like a rub burn or trolley horse or something on the inside of my leg. And like I hit it and rolled off. And of course, landed on the mats below the beam. It was a big tumble because I could see the look on my coach's face. And then, of course, he immediately had to try to hide that look, right? I could see it. I saw it. Then he was like, "You okay?" And I, shook it off, and I wasn't a big crier, so it would have had to be really hard for me to cry. But my dad always taught me, you fall, you scrape your knee, you get up, you grunt instead of crying. You get up, you grunt, you suck it up, buttercup, and you keep moving. So I looked at my coach and he said, "All right, get back up there." And in that moment, I had to get back up, had to take some deep breath, let it shut off me. He didn't rush me. He didn't. I could just feel the tension that I felt when I was a kid. Like, even right now, just the thought of getting back up there. Shoot, I can't do it now. Like, the thought of getting up there, period. To do that back handspring on the beam again and not split, right? At this point, it's not even just about splitting. It's just about going for it. At this point, I'm even too terrified to even try. I can't remember if I stuck it the first time. I feel like I did. But I do know this. Going for it was half the battle. After I got to the point where I could go for it again, I knew how to fall, right? Because I had already fallen. Now I knew how to fall a little bit better because I never let my legs split in that direction anymore, right? Like if I'm going on a straight beam, I could split. The gymnastics way, we split our legs anyway this way. But if you split them this way, then you're going to straddle that beam because the beam is going straight back. Your legs can't come apart. They can go back like this apart. And then basically your body falls to one side or the other. You don't think about this when you're watching gymnastics because what you see on TV, of course, is always so freaking amazing. And they're so practiced because they've been doing it forever in their lives. So back to fear and back to your homework. 3 questions. Where did it start for you? How is it going now? And how can we fix it? How can we fix it? I have some ideas and I will talk about it in my next live, but I want you to do some homework. I want you to share in the comments, share and let me know what you think. And I'll also type those questions in the chat for those that catch the replay. Again, I'm Nicole Duncan, Abundant Life Coach. This is the Rise Up Challenge. I'm doing it for the next 30 days. I'll go live. My crew, my tribe, my peeps are part of the Abundant Life Nation. We're a group of coaches spreading life and love and positivity and getting people to think, right? It's time out. It's time out for giving in and being sucked into all the negative crap that you see on Instagram, Facebook, and even the news. I mean, come on now. I have a degree in journalism. I have a degree in broadcast production. I can't believe I'm saying this because that's what I'm doing now, right? I have a degree in broadcast production. And what I was taught when I was in college about giving out truthful information and not just boasting your opinion. Now, wait a minute. I know what I'm doing now is highly opinionated. I get it. But I'm talking about the news. You know, we used to rely on that. But be careful, people. Like, really just be very mindful of what you're letting come in. I made a comment on a post not too long ago. I'm only interested in responsible journalism, right? Like, responsible. I can get somebody listening to somebody that doesn't share the same opinions as me. But you got to be careful in how that's done, because we have created, through social media, we've created some pretty nasty monsters when it comes to influence over people and having people at each other's throats. And that's not the way we should be, y'all. That's not cool. So, abundant life path, abundant life. I'm an abundant life coach. If you're interested in coaching, life coaching, wellness coaching, fitness coaching, of course I do that. Just send me a message. I'll send you the link to book a consultation with me, and we will go from there. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Be kind, loving, and take care of yourselves. Number one.